Good morning. My name is Mike, aka Fony. It is early. The sun is just now creeping up, and as you can see, pouring into the windows here. It's the first Monday of June. Hey, it is not very much significance there, but it is. It's the fact. So we should celebrate it. I hope you guys are actually having a fantastic day so far, and I hope you guys have a fantastic week so far. I saw some guys. Actually, I was taking my kid to daycare this morning, and I saw some guys pushing their car on the side of the road, and I was like, damn, like their week sucks already, and it's like Monday at 6 a.m. like that. It's kind of a shitty way to start the week. So hopefully none of you guys have that issue. So we're gonna go over a couple things today, because we'll try to keep it relatively concise if I can, without tangents. So the guys on the side of the road here, we're gonna go over a couple of notes from last month in terms of the channel, a Patreon update. And you guys I also have an AMA here. Just a handful of questions. Last AMA was like 50 minutes long because it was the first time I had done one. So this is nice and short. So we'll get to those in a minute. Obviously, this video and pretty much everything you guys have seen, not at all possible without Patreon. Patreon, we actually just got paid from Patreon, and it's just absolute. I can't even begin to tell you guys how much of a lifesaver it has been to help basically keep us afloat here. I know you guys know that YouTube revenue is shit, and I've talked about Patreon and all this stuff in the past and how much it's made a difference and made it possible to do all this stuff. So yeah, it's true, and I'll bring it up every single time because I don't want you guys to forget. But speaking of Patreon, so when I first announced Patreon here to you guys here on YouTube, because I know there's a lot of guys on YouTube, there's 60,000 of you guys, and I don't have 60,000 followers elsewhere, so surely some of you guys didn't know this. So when I first started Patreon, I mentioned that I was going to be doing a photography one, because I wanted to keep it separate, frankly, because nudity and titties, and like I know that there was going to be a lot of logistics there where I couldn't necessarily blend them together, like it didn't make sense to be like, on Patreon at a certain tier, your name in lights, and also sneak preview at the next shoot I'm doing. Like it did not mesh well. So I decided a long time ago when I first started Patreon, I was like, well, I'm gonna make a separate one just for photography, and we'll see how that goes. So I have a Vimeo video actually in the actually if you just go to the Patreon page, I'll link below for the photo one. You'll see it there. But yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm launching a photography related one. For those of you guys who didn't know, yes, I do photography, and it is not safe for work photography. It's not porn, obviously, but it's definitely it's nude, boudoir, and abstract type stuff. So naked people under a sheen of like crazy blur effects or something. Whatever I come up with. And then also like just like standard stuff, like stuff with Lindsay. I work with her a lot. But anyways, didn't I say about tangents? So it's live right now, and you can go and there's a bunch of tiers. It breaks it down pretty well. You can pledge as much as $1 if you just want to have just basically have general access to some behind the scenes stuff and all that stuff and all that. And I have a bunch of, if you check the posts underneath the this is what I am, this is what I do, part of the Patreon blog there. You'll see essentially a breakdown of like what each tier gets. I'm doing just a ton of like simple video content. Like I'm already editing the videos, so it's like I've decided, since I'm already editing the photos, so it's like, why don't I go ahead and make video content on top of it? People might find that interesting. And I've actually even I was at Lindsay's housewarming. There's another tangent. I was at Lindsay's housewarming party, and her friend comes up to me, and this is on Saturday night. And she said that she loved the behind the scenes stuff that I shot with Lindsay, because I made like a behind the scenes kind of package video, which you can view again on the photo thing, on the photo page. And she said, I learned a lot, because based off your description and like showing, where you place the lights and all that stuff and how you create a certain effect. And it's funny, I started this Patreon because it was like, it's hard for me to lock in talent for lock in a model for a shoot without money, because they want to make money, and I want to make money too, but I'm the photographer, and unfortunately right now in this industry models come before photographers in terms of like who gets paid what, right? So that was my idea. So I was like, well, I'll create a Patreon. There's probably plenty of people out there who would like to see behind the scenes stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then I realized afterwards, it was like, wow, a lot of these people are actually learning stuff from these videos. I mean, I did a 2-hour Lightroom session with somebody just last week. And it was like, okay, so people are genuinely interested in this kind of stuff. And so that's like, now the Patreon has got like, you know, there's a lot more depth there than just, you know, hey, help me secure talent. So it's great. And it's there for you guys if you guys are interested. You'll probably see stuff here on this channel. It'll be labeled photography or something. So if you're not interested in that kind of stuff, feel free just to skip it. Obviously, there's limitations of what I can put here because, of course, you know, nudity and whatnot. I might censor certain things and put it here. But if you pledge, then obviously you'll have access to all that stuff and it'll all be available. But yeah, I might do a couple little trailers here and there, just kind of be like, hey, this is a recap of what we're doing for the month for the photography. I'm taking pictures of so and so, and this is a couple glimpses, and you know, pledge on Patreon and blah blah all that stuff. So it's there for you guys who are interested in the photography thing, and maybe you want to learn more, or maybe you just want early access to some of these pics, or maybe you want high quality tips. That's completely up to you guys which direction you want to go with it, or how do you want to approach it. So yeah, it's there. It's the link below and stuff. So yeah, that's it. And let's see, what else? So last month we had 10 Eating for Breakfast episodes plus a couple of VR. I actually have a couple of VR still that I've not yet edited and posted. So I think I might still have that footage. Oh God, did I still have that footage? I may have junked it because it's kind of old at this point, but if the games are still relevant and I still have the footage, I'll put it out. I won't say relevant, but like if they haven't changed dramatically since launch, then I'll still put it out. Let's see, we had a couple BFF reports. Obviously, that's huge. It's a big yay. I don't have the theme song done yet, so I'm not gonna wait. If I have another episode that I feel like I need to do for whatever game, I'm not gonna hold off on the episode because I don't have a theme song. So we might get another episode or two without the music. I want to make sure it's done right. That's my biggest thing. It's the theme for the show, so I kind of want to make sure it's done right. Let's see. We had obviously a bunch of Digi-Who's and a few fluff things here and there, and then of course Darnell's Nightmare. That's something that a lot of you guys are actually genuinely like interested in. So I'm happy. I'm glad because it gives me an excuse to get through Nightmare mode on Doom. And obviously it gives me an excuse to get back into that persona and to kind of use it some more, and get all that stuff, you know, sussed out, because, you know, Legion is coming and there's a very, very slim possibility I'll jump back in there and check that out. And if I get in there, you know, Darnell's coming with me. So that's always good news. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, last month was really great. This month I plan on basically continuing on that trend. I feel like 10 Eating for Breakfast episodes feels like it's a pretty good number, but I feel like I could probably do a little bit more. I try to do, well, that is 2 a week. That's more than 2 a week. All right, so I want to say I try to do at least 2 a week, but I definitely surpassed that. I'm thinking I could probably do like 12 episodes pretty easily for a month. There's definitely plenty of games, and my backlog is absolutely capable of supplying me with with at least 12 games already as it is, without even starting the month. Really, I already have at least 12 games I could do a freaking Eating for Breakfast on. So yeah, I'm gonna focus on that kind of stuff. And then of course the BFF reports. I'm not gonna do a BFF report on Overwatch. It seems kind of silly to do that because I am the most biased person on paper. I feel like I give you guys a pretty fair assessment, but we'll see. Maybe we'll see. There's like no demand for it because everyone's playing the game, so everyone pretty much already knows what's up. Let's see, I'm looking at my laptop here because now we have questions. So these are questions asked by people on the obviously gaming Patreon. P.S. If you're already subbed on Twitch or if you're already subbed on Patreon, check Discord. If you're in my Discord, go ahead and check the announcements. A lot of people probably missed that actually. So there's a breakdown of if you are already part of this community, the BFF community, then and you want to support the photography one. If you want to make the switch, I'll make sure to keep you in Discord, even though Discord is not part of the photography Patreon tiers. Like it's not. I wasn't sure if I wanted to have, you know, a 47-year-old wedding photographer in Discord. I just wasn't sure if that was something I was, you know, wanted to do. I don't know. Might change later. But yeah, for those of you guys who want to maintain Discord access and you want to support me on the photography thing, just let me know, and I'll note your name in the user logs for Discord, and I'll make sure you still have access. Anyways, so on the Gaming AMA or Patreon, you guys have asked me a handful of questions, and these are pretty easy, super easy questions. Like Theme T, he says, through your history online, is there any game/project that you regret putting so much time and effort into? Or anything you wish you'd paid more attention to in hindsight? So any project you regret putting so much time and effort into? Not really. Major projects that I've had is like Game Breaker, and if we break that down, we could say a Legendary was a big project. We could say that 15 Mog was a big project. There's all these things that are like big projects that like, do I wish I put more effort into or not? So like, let's look at that. Like, just in general, I feel like every project that I work on, if it fails, it's a means to an end. If it fails, I can look at it like, okay, I've learned something. I wouldn't have known. Obviously, I launched whatever this thing is. I worked really hard on this thing because I feel like it would have worked. So if it doesn't work, then great. Now I have a better perspective and a better understanding of why it didn't work, and therefore everything I do past this point will benefit from that information. It's like we were talking about movies. It's like if you see X number of movies, like tons of movies, then you have a pretty good spectrum of what is good and what is good and what is bad. The problem is that if you see nothing but good movies, then your spectrum's all like weirded out, right? And if you see nothing but mediocre movies, then your spectrum's still kind of weirded out because all you've seen is basically this. In your potential, not in like what everybody else's potential is. Basically, in your potential, you've only really focused in this area. Every once in a while, you have to watch a movie that's really, really shitty in order to really, understand where your spectrum is. Does that make sense? It's kind of like music. Like there's a lot of music I listen to that I don't necessarily like, but I want to get an idea for like what people like, what the so just listen to something really shitty and then be like, all right, cool. I hate this song because of these reasons, and I love this song because of these reasons. And then basically you start to develop your spectrum, right? Your opinion spectrum, if you want to call it. So that's the same thing with games or with the projects that I've worked on. It's like it's like I think that something is great, and then I'll put it out, and then everybody else says no, it's shit, and then it's like, okay, well, let me see why it's shit. Okay, now I understand why it's shit. Okay, great. Now I've gained that experience. Ding. And so that is, I would say, there's a couple of things. I would say like I wish I'd put more time into 15 Mog, and at the same time I'm glad I didn't put a lot of time into 15 Mog. 15 Mog was a game where I had the silhouette, the Mystery Science Theater 3000 type silhouette with the green chin hawk. That was an incredibly fun show to shoot. It was also technically the biggest pain in the ass. I don't even have a video camera to shoot. We had to use a video camera because of the length that you're shooting at, right? Like a camera like mine right here, the DSLR will overheat before I finish an episode. So I can't even use this. But yeah, so shooting it required an actual video camera. It required a green screen. It required 2 layers of chroma keying, one for the blue or for the green chin hawk and one for the green background. I had to do double layers there because the chin hawk was actually blue painter's tape that I used. So it was 2 layers, and there was like masks on top of each other. And then obviously editing it's a pain in the ass because you're live previewing 2 different like layers of chroma keying on the same feed, and it was an insane production just for 15 minutes of footage. So it was a pain in the ass, but it was a lot of fun, and I wish I'd put more time into it because I feel like I may have been able to figure out some kind of way to do it live or something. Which maybe now the technology is there because we're talking like 4 years ago that I did this show, maybe even longer. So it's possible that now I could probably just do it live in XSplit or something like that, which I might be able to actually now that I think about it. But I mean, setting up the green screen, and that's not going to happen anytime soon. So anyway, yeah, that's a project I wish I put more time into. Something I wish I would have paid more attention to in hindsight, though. That's something that I feel I had more of that in ZAM when I was working for ZAM, because part of my job was to, look at games, upcoming games, and figure out what games I want to focus on and everything. As a network, like the entire network, what we want to focus on. Initially, I didn't want to cover Destiny. I love Bungie. I didn't feel like Destiny was going to. I didn't feel like it was going to have the longevity that I wanted for the network, which is kind of. I mean, I thought I was thinking I was wrong because I was thinking that we'd probably get. Maybe I wasn't wrong actually. That we'd get like a year and then all our time would be wasted, and that after that it would be like we just have the hardcore fanboys. That's pretty much it. Which I feel like it actually might still be kind of accurate. But looking at it from the perspective of we ran Wowhead and LOL King, so we had World of Warcraft and League of Legends. These are things that maybe that I was taking into consideration for like, well, I want things that last years, not something that's gonna last a year. So we ended up building Destiny DB. I wasn't around when there was 3 of us that made the call on that, and I wasn't around for it. So I was basically already voted off the island. So I was like, fine, we'll build a stupid website. And I ended up loving the game, and it lasted about a year. And now it's just kind of like there's plenty of hardcore fanboys, and every time they release an expansion, it does well. Longevity wise, maybe in 10 years, something like that, after Destiny 3 comes out, it might be worth it, but who knows. So yeah, that was something that was it's hard to say if I would regret that or if I wish I paid more attention to it, but yeah, that's just a funny story. How's that? Let's see. Nevs says, hey Mike, I was wondering if you had plans to make videos again with Shizzle and Lore anytime in the future. Yeah, sure, of course. That kind of stuff just happens. Like if we just all happen to be playing the same game, then yeah, we do it. We don't sit down and say, hey, we should record videos for whatever reason. We just kind of say, hey, we're all playing the same game. Let's go and sit down and just do it. And so, yeah, if that happens, then we'll do it for sure. Let's see. Alex says, hey again, Mike. Since Overwatch has come out, a lot of people are calling for a Bastion nerf. So this is kind of old at this point. You probably met May or McCree. I think it's been beat to death already, but basically the meta is shifting all over the place. We know this. Now we knew this because we've played in the alpha and beta and all that good stuff. So we knew ahead of time that the meta was going to shift dramatically because you have the intro meta where nobody knows how to switch characters, right? Where nobody knows how to counter anything, and so what ends up happening is characters like Bastion are like super OP. And then the meta kind of starts to shift a little bit where people don't know how to take down tanks, and people don't know how to stay away from a Reinhardt, like keep your distance from a Reinhardt because he will swing on that ass. There's a number of things that people figure out. Just the general populace will end up get better at the game, and then they will educate their peers, usually by saying, hey, you fucking suck at X, you should do Y instead. Hey, that person probably learned something that day. So yeah, it's the watching the meta shift all over the place is very interesting. Right now, I would say, and I haven't played it actually. I didn't play it this weekend, so I'm willing to bet though that McCree is still probably hurting a lot of people, and a good May is pretty hard to keep down. The slowdown effect and it's just annoying. I think what people hate most about it is the fact that you lose control of your character. Nobody likes it when you lose control of your character. Ever. You can't trinket it. It's just you lose control and you're stuck there, and that's it. There's no way to like zoom out of it. Even Tracer can't like use her rewind time, I believe, to get out of it. Reaper can't shadow step or whatever, like out of his out of a being frozen by May. Basically, everyone's just stuck, and it's infuriating. Yeah, I don't like May either. Let's see. Diru says, any current plans for? He actually asked a question about Overwatch. So we'll get to that one first. How much are you liking Overwatch? Any plans for new shows doing something other than Overwatch for Sub Night? Actually, yeah, just last night we did Tabletop Simulator because so it's hard to say like what's Sub Night and what's not Sub Night because we're all playing Overwatch right now, so we're kind of all playing Overwatch together. But last night, we were like, hey, let's play Super Fight. And so we played Super Fight, as you guys saw with the Sabertooth Vagina. We had a pretty good time. I think the get creative with whatever your set of cards is kind of took some people by surprise. But I think that the next time we play it, we'll be more prepared to sit down and come up with a story for a naked clown who's throwing used hypodermic needles and has super endurance. Which, by the way, that was actually handled beautifully. But yeah, it's definitely a game that requires that you really sit down and you come up with a story, kind of like Cal Raykin did in the Saber-Tooth Vagina thing. And let's see, yeah, so Overwatch is good. I mean, I think Overwatch is good, so that's how much I'm liking Overwatch. Any plans for new shows? Yes and no. That's all I got. Yes, of course. Yeah, I have some ideas for new shows, but nothing I can really share yet because I have nothing really concrete. I feel like we're very slowly evolving the channel, which is good. Because if I went right back to making a bunch of Tets and Will Donkey, that'd be great for some of you guys, but the channel wouldn't go anywhere. And plus, Tets is not as, or Trials is not as awesome as it used to be, unfortunately. Because Trials Evolution, nobody makes tracks for it anymore, and Trials Fusion is just not Trials Evolution, which is the problem. So yeah, that's it. That's it. It looks like, yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty short. Any current plans for music making? Yeah, I mean, just kind of whatever. It's kind of like whenever I get to it, my creative energies. God, that sounds dumb. When I think about where I spend my creative currency, right? It kind of just goes and like it kind of revolves, you know. Some days I just spend it. Some weeks I spend it on music. Some weeks I spend it on photography. Some weeks I spend it on editing and coming with a new intro or whatever. So it just kind of revolves. So do I plan on for music making? Yeah, I'm sure it'll happen. There'll be a phase I'll hit and it'll be like I gotta sit down and make a beat or whatever. I have a bunch of like half finished songs I really want to finish, and I also have some themes that I really want to work on. I want to make an ambient album. I want to make I want to make like just a beat album that's basically just simple, 1-2 minute long, just kind of like here's an idea, something, a riff that I had in mind. Because building a song is hard. Building a beat is easy, And these are things that people could take and use in their videos on YouTube and on Twitch, which I'm sure people will appreciate. And so yeah, I want to sit down and make like a 25 song album that people can pick up and here's a bunch of 1 minute, 2 minute jingles, because I used to make jingles all the time and I loved it. And then they could use it for whatever they want. So yeah, that's something that I'd like to do. So I have plans, totally. Is Negative PH done as in future music will be aka Mike B, or can we expect some more Negative PH action? I miss Negative PH every day. I loved working with Josh. Josh is still around, of course, but we kind of work in 4-year like phases, rotations. And I think we're coming up actually on a 4-year rotation here. I'm not sure, but it's oh no, we still have a couple years. Yeah, like every album it's like 2003, 2007, 2011, something like that, right? So yeah, I think 2017 I think is the next one that is planned. But that's usually our rotation for like working on music. I would love to do some more. Josh brings a completely different dynamic to it that really pushes me. And I feel like my solo stuff that I've started working on in the past year has really actually helped me develop as a musician. So yeah, I would love to do some more music with Josh for sure. Now that I have all these new tools in my arsenal, right? I'm like, oh yeah, Josh, guess what? I can write a solo too. All right, that's a terrible example. Are there any unreleased albums from a long time ago? There's not. There's a ton of unreleased songs, like a shitload of unreleased songs. Which maybe you'll see. I'll add them to things, or I'll throw them on the jingle album or something like that. But yeah, there's a ton of unreleased tracks that we've just never finished. Period. So yeah, there's potential there for some unreleased stuff to come out for sure. P.S. If it's unreleased, it's because it probably sucks. So half of the unreleased songs are just terrible. Ben Weldon says, "How is life?" Life is good. Life is great. Right now, things are going pretty good. Wife is where is she at? Well, she's due November. She's basically due BlizzCon. So, where she's 3 months in? Something like that? No, 4 months? I should know this stuff. So my wife's pregnant, and she's a significant chunk through. So yeah, that's going really well. She's getting more pregnant every day. She can't, you know, get up and help with a lot of things that she used to. She used to do actually basically almost everything. So I have now learned to do a lot of stuff. But no, she's doing good. Declan's doing good. My kid's doing good. He's learning a lot of Chinese. He's learning so much Chinese, as a matter of fact, because he goes to a preschool where they teach Chinese, and they thought my wife was Chinese, which is hilarious. So they put him in Chinese class, and then when they found out she was Korean, they were like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Don't worry about it. It's cool that he's learning Chinese. Just don't tell, you know, my wife's mom because she'll flip out." So he's learning so much Chinese that he's actually he's gone like Chinglish mode. Like, is that how you say Chinese and English together? Like Spanglish. So it's like, anyways, yeah. So he's like he'll sit there and he'll count something. He'd be like one, two, three, san, chin. Like he'll just start like it'll just seamlessly blend from English to Chinese. And a lot of times he'll be singing songs in Chinese. He'll start saying things, and it's like, is that baby talk or is he speaking Chinese? We don't know. But yeah, it's pretty incredible, like, to see. I mean, kids, like, they just absorb that stuff and they just, like, you know, learn it. So like, it's no big deal. So yeah, anyways, life is going great. Life is going great. Obviously, like, massive thanks to everybody who supports me on Patreon. And so yeah, none of this would be possible. That red brick wall would not be there because we wouldn't be living here if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you so much for all of you guys' support. And if you guys want to check out the photography Patreon, if that's something you're into, if you're looking to be a photographer, or if you're just looking for some pics, you can go ahead and check it out. The link is below. And stay tuned. Tomorrow we have some more Darnell stuff. And I also have Chroma Gun, a game that I am very, very interested in, that's coming out tomorrow-ish. No, tomorrow, no, Wednesday. I'm not sure. We'll see. And then I have a haircut coming up soon, because that is needed like you would not believe. Jesus. Yep. Thanks for watching. See ya.